Braun Strowman and Omos. Oh boy. This was the match. I didn't know which direction this match was going to go in. This could have been the worst match of the year, or it could have exceeded everyone's expectations. And thankfully, it went the latter instead of the former. They went out there and they had a perfectly fine big man match. Omos did more in this match than I've ever seen him do in any match in his entire career. Braun Strowman was selling for him and bumping for him, but in the end, Strowman hit one power slam and he got the pin on the big guy. And there was really nothing wrong with the match that they had. And I said as much in my review. I gave praise to both of them and said they did well. They went out there and they had a perfectly fine match. So then, of course, Braun Strowman, that's not enough. Braun Strowman has to go on social media and he wins for said tweet. Not the first time he's put his foot in his mouth on social media. We remember some of the shit that he said before. But he went on Twitter and he said, "Holy hell," and he tagged Omos. Okay, so I don't want to hear from anybody, "Oh, he was being in character." He's tagging his fucking opponent. He tags Omos and says, "Holy hell, Omos, can you believe we got 47 stars? And reminded the people that no one cares about all these flippy floppers or floppy floppers or whatever the fuck. Goes, "Giants and Monster are always better than Flippy Flipper. Bag your groceries at Kroger. Hashtag airport test. Hashtag size is the prize. Hashtag swole is the goal." So now he's fucking Dr. Seuss over here. So this guy just can't help himself. He cannot help himself but to put other wrestlers down. The one thing I have noticed about Braun Strowman, when I do see his tweets pop, I'm not following him right now, but when I see his tweets pop up or he says something stupid and he ends up in the news, he comes across, for a guy who, I've never said he doesn't have talent. I actually defended him at times when people were talking about the possibility of him coming back to WWE. Oh my God, no, we can't have Braun Strowman back. And I always said, look, he has talent. You can't say that he's not a talented guy. I saw that when he worked with Roman Reigns. And there was a period of time 5 years ago where he was hot enough that you could have put the Universal title on him and nobody would have objected. My issue with him is just that he just doesn't come across as a very bright guy when he opens his mouth and he says some of the stupid shit that he does. But the one thing I've noticed is that he is a very insecure person. And that's what insecure people do. They will put others down for no reason at all, other than just to make themselves feel better because there's something about themselves that they don't like, or there's some kind of shortcoming, whatever it might be. They're very self-conscious about something or their ability or whatever the case may be. And he has always come across that way to me whenever I see him go off like this. And he always plays it off, "Oh, I'm just trying to rile up the marks." He did it again today. I'm going to talk about that in a second. He can play it off any way he wants to. I think there's a major amount of insecurity going on here. And he wasn't done. He responded to other people. This is what he said here. He said, "This weird subculture of you gotta do flips and kill yourself, even though we want you to do it for free without any money to support what you have to go through. The broke-ass loudmouth IWC can, in the words of DX, suck it sideways." I must have missed that DX segment. Not only is he dumb, but apparently he's been doing it wrong his entire life. So, of course, he's taking stuff about how independent wrestlers break their necks and break their backs and do a lot of really stupid shit for very little, if any, money. I mean, that's been a trope about independent wrestlers for years. That's not even completely wrong. There's a lot of wrestlers out there who do a lot of stupid shit and flips and dives that they don't have to do. But he's always putting down wrestlers who do dives and do all kinds of stuff, not even realizing he works for a company right now with plenty of wrestlers who do those very things. And I can only imagine what many of his coworkers must think when they see stuff like that. He got a lot of blowback for the comment that he made on Instagram back during the pandemic, when he was talking about how if you can't support yourself, if you're having trouble, find a different industry. That's what I did. I wasn't making money in strongman, so I went and I got into wrestling and all this. And then later on, he said, "Oh, it was taken out of context, and I made those comments before the pandemic, and everybody jumped on me." It was an incredibly stupid tone-deaf thing for him to say. Then, of course, he ended up losing his job. I didn't see him doing very many independents. If he did very few of them. Instead, he went and created his own independent, right? It was him and EC3 were going to control our narrative, and we're going to change the course of the wrestling business, and we're going to change this, and we're going to change that. And then he was putting down AEW all the time. Of course he was putting down AEW all the time, because they didn't want to work with him. But when WWE came calling, that was he controlled his narrative. Now he's back in WWE. Well, good for him. But there's just something about this guy. He cannot help himself but to just put down other people in the business that he works with. And he just keeps going back to this whole flippy dippy, flippy floppy thing. I don't know. I watch WWE. I still see plenty of flips and dives and people who are a lot smaller, physically smaller than him, who do that kind of stuff. I wonder if he would say that to their face. Or does it just have to be independent wrestlers? Maybe it's the independent flips that bother him. It's not so much the flips on TV. It's the independent flips. Not sure exactly what it is that irks him more. So sure enough, didn't take very long. He's already getting raked over the coals by some of his colleagues in the business. Mustafa Ali quote tweeted him and said, "Can you teach me how to get fired?" And then Braun came back at him and said, "Don't you work in catering?" We had Ricochet posted something. Chris Jericho chimed in. Chris Jericho saw the Kroger tag in his tweet, and he quote tweeted him and said, "I used to bag groceries." We had Will Ospreay. Will Ospreay, I thought, actually had the best response so far of all the wrestlers I've seen. He wasn't coming at him with an insult. Will Ospreay, who, again, is somebody who probably more than maybe anybody else gets criticism from the people who don't like him of being the flippiest of all flippers. Will Ospreay said, "Why are you so mad about making money? Because it's dead funny that you actually have done such a great job, and yet you're mad at other people that do the same job as you." He said, "Relax, my guy. Just say that you really enjoyed showing super heavyweight wrestling." And Strowman responded with, "Not mad at all, brother. Just love watching the IWC melt. Mad respect to the high fly." Oh, now he has mad respect for the high flyers. He goes, "I just love firing up the internet. Was on a 10-hour flight, made for good reading, LOL." That is the response from a man who is getting cooked on social media by a lot of his colleagues and is trying to basically go, "Oh, my bad, I was just being funny. I didn't mean anything by it." Even though this is far from the first time that he has had these very specific criticisms on social media. This is about more than just the IWC. And why is Braun Strowman so obsessed with the IWC? You went in there, you impressed a lot of people who probably thought you were going to go in there with this other guy and shit the bed. They ended up having a pretty decent match. He should be super happy right now. I saw a lot of praise. I saw a lot of positive comments about the match that he and Omos had. But he's obsessed with the IWC and Dave Meltzer's star ratings and all of these different, like I said, insecure. It's an unforced error. Dude, take the positive feedback. Post a tweet. You want to tag Omos, post a tweet and go, "Hey, big man, we went out there. We tore it up. We shut a lot of people up. I look forward to doing it again." No, he has to go and he has to say the stupidest shit. Because if Braun Strowman didn't go on social media and say something stupid, he would have nothing else to say. It was a total unforced error on his part. He shot himself in the foot. Now he's trying to back off and say, "Oh, I'm just doing it for kicks." So I was all ready to come on here and pay this man a compliment and give him his kudos and give him his flowers for the match that he had. And now, instead of people talking about the match that he and Omos had, all they're going to be talking about is what a dipshit he was on Twitter. So Braun Strowman, here you go. This is for you. This is your trophy for said tweet.